Hi, I'm Sunny Strasburg. One of the most important commitments we can ever make is to promise that we won't abandon ourselves. What does that mean? In internal family systems, or IFS, we understand that the mind is not only a single personality. We are polyvalent. We have many different parts. We're not singular. Some of these parts are protectors, and some are more vulnerable, exiled parts that hold the pain of fear and trauma. And protectors come in various forms. We have managers. And these are parts that try to stay in control, plan ahead, and prevent pain. So managers are proactive. And then we have firefighters. These are extreme parts that rush in when something feels overwhelming, and they try to distract with intensity. Sometimes they can be dissociative, sometimes they can be addicted. So firefighters are reactive. And we all have protectors of various kinds, and they're all more or less connected to what we call self-energy. And then there are exiles. These are younger, more vulnerable parts of us that carry the fear, pain, grief, trauma, and shame. Exiles are tender and usually young. And because they're so vulnerable, they're always protected by a countervalent protector. So the more extreme the pain is that the exile carries, the more extreme its protector tends to be. And in IFS, we don't pathologize this. We understand that our systems perfectly evolve for all the experiences that we've had, all the inputs and outputs, what our neurobiological system is. It's how our system keeps us alive and navigates the world. So unfortunately, when parts hold extreme feelings and roles, they get cut off from self-energy. And remember, self-energy is that calm, confident, compassionate substrate of all that we truly are, beneath all of the parts and their various agendas. The goal is to try to help all of the parts get access to self-energy. And so when an exile gets activated, the system can feel totally flooded. Anxiety spikes, fear takes over. And what those young parts need most in those moments is not control or reassurance from the outside, or parts inside berating them or criticizing or ignoring them. This is why when you're upset and someone says, well, just do some deep breathing, it doesn't work, because those parts want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want to be seen. They don't want to be pushed away. So what these parts need is self. Remember, self is that calm, steady presence within us that can show up with curiosity, compassion, and courage. So when self arrives and says, I'm here, I'm not leaving you, I want to know what your experience is, I'm holding you, something fundamental shifts. And this is how secure attachment is built internally, not by ignoring and suppressing fear, but by staying present when fear arises. So there is one promise we can make that matters more than anything else. In this world, as we understand pretty soon, we can't control everything that happens outside of us. The outside world can be chaotic, it can be traumatizing, and it can be unpredictable. But we can promise that we will not abandon ourselves, even in distress, even in uncertainty, even up till our last breath. I remember once being on an airplane during severe turbulence. Severe turbulence for me is very anxiety producing. It activates a lot of young parts. And this kind of turbulence immediately activated the young, scared parts of me that felt out of control and like there were no adults in the room. And my body reacted with that anxiety before my thoughts did. Fear surged, my young exiles overtook me. So it took me a few minutes to remember this. So instead of trying to suppress those young, terrified parts, I asked them for a little space so I could help them. I let them know there's an adult in the room, just give me a little space, I want to be with you. I want to know what your experience is. So I brought in that curiosity. I accessed a little bit of that self-energy, a tiny bit of calm, a little sliver of curiosity. And I said to those young children, I'm here. I know you're terrified. I'm not leaving you. I'll hold you through this. We'll be together no matter what happens up till our last breath. I will protect you. I will be with you. Nothing outside changed. The plane was still shaking like crazy. But inside, something reorganized within me. My system felt less alone. And that made all the difference. Thankfully, eventually the plane landed safely. Integration, healing, and resilience are not about eliminating fear. They are about bringing trust inside of ourselves, building trust inside of ourselves, developing secure attachment within, Healing is about becoming the presence our most vulnerable parts have always needed. We are the angels we've been waiting for. And this is what it means not to abandon ourselves. I hope you enjoyed that. I'd love your comments. Be well. Have a beautiful day.